Hey guys, it's Matthew with Faithfully Mobile Barbershop, and I'm here to give you our month number 1 review. This is the end of our first month in operation. It's been a long time coming. I've been dreaming of this time for years now, and it's crazy to me to just think that we're officially doing this. Like, we're out there doing events, we're out there meeting people, doing haircuts. Like, just the thought of us doing haircuts in this truck, it's so cool. So month number 1 is over. I want to talk about everything that happened and how we're going to use some of the things that we've learned to establish our long-term goals, which is to make $6,000 a month by our 6th month. So let's get right into it. In month number 1, we had a total of 11 events, which is like amazing. The most events we can even do is 12, right? Because we're open for events 3 days a week, and there's 4 weeks in a month, so 3 times 4 is 12. So this means that there was only 1 day out of the month that we could have had an event and we didn't have something scheduled, which is really impressive. And at those 11 events, we did a total of 49 haircuts, which sounds like a lot because it kind of is a lot. And this breaks down into 2 separate kind of categories. Across these events, we either can have basically the opportunity where we just show up somewhere, pre-planned of course, and we're delivering services to residents or employees in that area. But we've had a couple people who were interested in providing those services for the employees or for the residents. And we actually had 3 total events like that in our first month. What this does is it guarantees that we're gonna be like fully booked for that whole day. And whenever we're fully booked for the whole day, we make like the most amount of money that we can. So we had 3 events that contributed to that, which is why we have such a high volume with 49 total services. So when you look at that numbers wise, what does that mean? For month number 1 for event income, we made $2,540 just from haircuts and events, which is, like I said, it's lights out, it's amazing. And then let's talk about bookings. So it's like our dream thing. It's the reason why we started this business. It's probably the most important thing. I mean, we do the events the majority of the time, but that is really just because we're brand new and we're trying to get people to see our product and meet new communities and things like that, while we really try to flood a lot of resources towards trying to get individual appointments booked. So in month number 1, we did 8 total bookings, which might sound like a really small number, but I wasn't anticipating really doing any. I mean, we're going into our month number 1. We don't have anybody who's like, yeah, as soon as you open, let me know and I'll come get a haircut. We don't have a client book built up. We don't have like friends that are committed to getting the haircut. We have nothing. We're starting from scratch. If we're gonna get appointments booked, it's gonna be from us just meeting people during outreach opportunities, and then also at some of these events, like that's our opportunity to get future clients for the bookings as well. So we had 8 bookings, and it was so random all the sources that we got them from. You know, some people found this on Instagram, some people found this on Google, some people saw us driving down the road, which is like the best thing ever. So we had 8. That gave us $610 in revenue. So when you add the 2 together, we made $3,150 in our very first month of operation. It's hard to know what this number means. Is this a really good month? Is this a really bad month? Is this an average month? We don't know if we can keep up the event volume, and we don't know if 8 is a true representation of our individual booking pace, I guess you could say. So what we want to do now is, based on this, we know what we did in month number 1. We know where we want to be in month number 6. Let's do a little bit of math and see what is the right way to grow this business steadily. That way we can be in control of the quality, but making sure that we're hitting checkpoints along the way to hit that $6,000 in monthly revenue goal. So what we want to do is establish our goals for month number 2 based on that. All right, so going into month number 2, our target is going to be having 10 events in the month. I know that having 12 days available with the proper resources means you should be able to book those out. However, in month number 1, we did 11, and I think that was really successful. In month number 2, we're going to aim for 10. That way it gives us a little bit of margin in case we have some open days. It's really no big deal. And then we want to average 40 total haircuts across those 10 events. This is lower than what we got in month number 1, and that's mainly because in month number 1, I mentioned we had a handful of events that were prepaid for by like the management and stuff. So I don't want to bank on that continuing to happen as we proceed with this business. It feels like that's a little extra, and I don't want to put that into our projections that every month we're going to find 3 places that are willing to pay for the services to be free to their people. Just going to kind of like set that aside as a positive anomaly and not so much a baseline that we should grow off of. So those numbers right there, having 40 total haircuts, that's going to result in $2,000 worth of revenue. And then for bookings, so if we did 8, and in month number 6, we want to make $6,000 total. If we can grow every month doing 5 more bookings than we did in the previous month, then that will get us to 32 bookings in our 6th month. That number right there, doing 32 bookings in a month while keeping up the events, will get us to that $6,000 in monthly revenue. So what we are planning is, okay, we started with 8. If we can increase by 5 every month, then we'll get to that 32. That's kind of where I'm thinking right now. That's where my head's at. So using that, 8 plus 5, 13. Month number 2, our goal for bookings is 13 bookings. And that will result in $1,200 in revenue. Those two combined give us a total for month number 2 of $3,200. This is just barely more than what we made in month number 1. However, the structure is like totally different. You can see that we're trying to be aware of the fact that the numbers we had in events is probably not sustainable. And we're transitioning some of that income reduction into the increased bookings. That's going to work out for us as long as we can hit those goals. At the end of the day, growing the booking volume is really like the most important thing ever as we transition into that being our kind of like what we do full time. So that is what month number 1 looked like for us. I'd consider it a success. We're obviously being graded against our own benchmark here, so I really like the way it looked. I think that it shows a lot of potential for us. Having just a handful of people book was like just the coolest thing ever. And like I said, I'm still kind of like in awe that we're even in this stage, and it just makes me really excited for the future. So that's what month 1 looked like, and then our goals for month number 2. So between now and then, I'll try to keep you guys updated on little things happening. But the next video, the next longer form video that you'll see is going to be our review of month number 2. We're going to see how did we do on those goals, did we deliver? And if we did or we didn't, do we need to, tweak some of the goals going forward and let this business grow organically the way that I know it will. So that's it for now, and we'll see you soon.